Christmas to you. Thanks. It's good. Like Lenny said, we're going to be doing things a little bit different today. So we have the order of worship here, so you can use that. Hopefully you got that. It's in the back there. And on the back of that is the fill in the blanks for helping give you some notes for during our lesson here. Doing something else a little bit different today. Christmas, I talked about last week how it's better to give than to receive. So we want to give a couple of gifts out today. All of the order of worships are green today, except for two. Two of them are red. Did anybody get a red order of worship? Okay, one here. Stephen, come here for a second. You can help me get this out. Was there another one? Oh, another one over here. Okay. Give this to Miss Patty right there. Right there. And Jake, can you come here and help me with this? All right. And Miss Tracy McMahon over there. Tracy, raise your hand right over there. Good. Just thought that'd be fun. Did you notice that one was different than the other ones? See, now I can't do that again because everybody's going to be getting it. Or maybe I will. We'll have to see. So it's just so good to see everybody today. Oh, did I put that clicker over there? That's why I do things different. Everything, my mind does things I don't know what it's doing. Here we go. Isn't that a beautiful picture? The Star of Bethlehem. That really happened. It's so interesting. And if you're visiting with us today, please stay a little bit before we can get to know you. And just want to welcome you in the way that's proper. So hopefully you can stay. So I just want to talk about this a little bit. I'm going to break this up in two different times. Usually we have a Lighthouse Kids, which is a little worship service for kids during the sermon. We won't have that today. Unfortunately, something came up and whoever was teaching it couldn't teach it today. So the kids are going to be staying in here today. But it helps a little bit. I'm going to break up my sermon a little bit. If you have struggle with attention span, I'm trying to help you out. All right. So the long wait. It's interesting how long they waited. It's difficult to wait for a gift, isn't it? Now, kids, have you asked? Surely you haven't, but I thought I'd ask. Have you asked your parents if you could open up a gift early? You've asked Jake? Yeah? What'd they say? Oh, good. I don't know if they did, but maybe he's still working the system there. Yeah, Ida Rose? I said no. Yeah. Because that's what was told to me when I used to ask when I was a kid. No, you can't ask. What day is Christmas? 25th? That's right. It's like, oh. And so it is hard to wait for a gift, isn't it? It's hard to wait for a time when you want it now. It's like, you're going to give it to me. Why not just give it to me now? Right? It makes sense. But sometimes we have to wait. And waiting is good. Micah 5:2, but as for you, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you one will go forth from me to be ruler of Israel. His goings forth are from long ago, from the days of eternity. Now Bethlehem is about 5 or 6 miles south of Jerusalem. I know when you hear that, well, that's not very far. Well, try it on camel, or walking it in a desert. It gets a little bit longer. If you ever, drive around, you probably don't notice hills or anything like that. But if you run it, you notice, I didn't notice that hill was here before. If you walk this trip from Jerusalem down to Bethlehem, it's a journey. Well, maybe you can probably do that. Try it with a pregnant wife. See how that is. Probably a little bit more difficult. I think it'd be more than just a day's travel. And so it takes a while to do things like that, and yet they had to do that because the census that was being taken. Now, after Micah wrote this, it's about 700 years after Micah was the birth of Jesus. True, we don't know the exact day that Jesus was born, but like I've mentioned before, you can celebrate my birthday any day of the year. If you're going to give me a gift, I'll welcome it, I'll say thank you. You don't even have to know when my birthday is. So you can really do that if you want. Just going to give me something. And so the world celebrates the 25th of December, so we take advantage of this opportunity and celebrate Jesus' life. That's what you do when you celebrate someone's birthday, don't you? You celebrate their life. And that's what we're doing here in this miraculous way, how Jesus came into the world. So 700 years. Can you imagine those that heard from Micah or read Micah? Oh, I can't wait. Now, for you that are waiting for your Christmas presents for 2 more days, imagine waiting for your whole life and still not seeing it come. Now, that can be a long wait. Not even seeing it come. And yet, you tell your kids, you tell your friends, it's going to happen. How do you know? How do you know there's going to be presents there this December? Well, probably there were presents there last time, wasn't there? And you know that there will be next time. They knew that God was faithful with everything that He promised. Everything that He said, He was faithful with. So they had faith that He would be again. But 700 years, that's a long time. Over 400 years since Malachi. Malachi was the last book in the Old Testament that we have. There's over 400 years after that. That's older than our country. Imagine someone in 1600 saying, you know what, in year 2000, I'm going to come here and do this. Or this is going to happen. How many people is going to remember that? If you question that, or if you want to get depressed, go around and ask people about our nation's history and see if they can answer questions. All right? And so it's a long time to wait. So here's a little video here that I want us to look at about example of waiting.
Okay, sit in that chair. All right, here's the deal. Marshmallow for you. You can either wait, and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another, so then you'll have to. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay? All right.
Oh no.
Alright, so I'm going to leave and then I'll come back, okay? So you can either eat it right now or you can wait. Either way, okay? Okay. How'd you do? You good? You good? You wanted to eat it, didn't you? Yeah. So I'll tell you to give me another one? Okay, I can have both.
That's interesting, isn't it? That first test was done in the 1960s, and it's been replicated. You know, universities have been doing it to see, I wonder if it's still true. And it is. This test is to see if people can wait for a little while from eating something that's good in order for them to have more later. Okay? And usually this test has been proven because they follow these kids as they get older. The kids that wait, it shows a good future for them. Now, it's not saying if they don't wait, oh, this kid, just take him out of school. It's useless. Don't even do it. Don't worry about it. And so, are you guys going to have Lighthouse Kids? We'll dismiss later then. Okay. Communication is tough, isn't it? I find out things new all the time. So, kids, go ahead and I'll make changes later. Okay, so here, Lamentations 3, 25 through 27. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the person who seeks Him. It is good that he waits silently for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he should bear the yoke in his youth. It's good to wait. Is it easy to wait? No, it's not. It's hard to wait, especially when it's something that you really want. Okay? So there's 5 things here on your fill in blanks. There's 5 places to fill this in. One of them has 2 spaces because it's 2 words. 1, perseverance. If you can wait through especially difficulty, you learn to persevere. And this is something good for kids. If they can see that kids can wait, then they've learned that these kids usually can persevere through difficulty and stay on task. And speaking about task, kids that wait are shown that they can prioritize issues. So let's say if you read and do your homework, then you can watch TV later. Okay? You can watch 30 minutes of TV later. If not, you can watch 5 minutes now. And then do your homework and no more TV later. See, if you can prioritize, okay, this is important. I can get more benefits if I do this and do this later. They've learned that these kids can do that. Also, they have productive habits. They just have productive habits. They don't procrastinate. They do their task ahead of time instead of waiting at the very end. Of course, they learn that they have more patience than other people. And that's a blessing. And lastly, and this is a big one, that they have gratitude. They're grateful for what they have. Because you can see that, right? If you go ahead and eat that first marshmallow, and then they say, oh, you don't get the second one. Are you grateful for that first marshmallow? No. They'll probably say, oh, but I want that second one. They'll be so remorseful about the second one, they don't really enjoy the first one. And that happens a lot to people. If they can't wait, then it's worse for them. And I want to talk about that more with us as well, as us grown-ups. Us grown-ups struggle with that as well. So he came, and they came, which is interesting. So Matthew 2, verses 1 through 6. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Gathering together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They said to him, in Bethlehem of Judea. For this is what has been written by the prophets. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah. For out of you shall come forth a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. And that's what we read there in Micah 5:2. 700 years before. It's like, how could they remember that? And think about that. These Magi were remembering what it said there in Micah 700 years before to find Jesus. Now that's a long time, isn't it? Now, do we remember? Sometimes it's hard for you to remember what I said last Sunday. No, I'm not going to ask you. I don't want to embarrass myself if you don't remember what I talked about last Sunday. But it can be hard to remember something from before. And so God tells us things for us to remember and for us to follow. If he speaks it, he doesn't just say it just to hear his own voice. He says it for us to understand. Now I've got this one other little video. This is for Christmas time here. It's a nice little video, isn't it? You know, it's amazing that he came. In some way, I wish all those people, all those Jewish people, those 700, 1,000 years before, that they could know he came. And I think they did. But what a long wait, to wait so long for the Messiah to come. Hebrew Messiah, Greek, New Testament Christ, for him to come. And what a blessing. I want to invite all the kids to come up here before you go back to Lighthouse Kids. Come up here. I want to ask you a couple questions. I know we have a lot of kids traveling, going to see grandparents and things. So if you have any kids that didn't get taken away for an early Lighthouse Kids, come up. Or just Stephen. My son has to come. He doesn't have a choice. So I guess I was when he went back. All right, you can just stay up here, guys. All right, the three amigos. All right, good. All right, it's good to have you guys up here. I put that up there so I won't forget. I put kids in there. All right, come on, guys. Yeah, that's a train. That's right. You thought I was just saying that. He was a train coming up. All right. All right, good. All right. I appreciate you guys coming up. Are you guys excited for Christmas?
Yes.
It's
Super excited.
We're good.
Super. I'm
I know it's hard to have the words, isn't it? Yeah. It's very exciting. Well, I had just a couple of questions.
I did too.
You are good, good. Well, you hide it so well. Well, I just have a couple of questions I want to ask you guys. Is it worth waiting for presents for Christmas?
Yes.
It is? Carson, you say no. Why?
I don't know.
Just to be different. And so, what's something that you've waited for? What's hard? What's something that's hard to wait for?
For me to get an iPhone X.
An iPhone X? You're going to be waiting a long time for that. I've told them, wait until you're 15, I'll tell you no. That's good. And so what else is something that you've had to wait for, it's hard to wait for?
And iPod.
An iPod, oh, I see a theme. Anything else?
Something like a big thing.
What?
Something like a thing that's big.
Something that's big? Yeah. I may need a translation. Did I get it? Something that's big? Yeah. Stephen, one more?
A play date.
A play date with someone? Yeah, that's kind of tough. But isn't it worth it? Are you excited when it finally comes?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe like a trip. Has your family ever taken a trip and you had to wait for it? It's pretty cool, isn't it? So you've waited for those things, and you guys are waiting for Christmas. Now, you guys don't sneak peeks for your presents, do you?
No. I think I almost did last year.
I always did last year. Don't tattle. Oh, you, okay. Yeah, it's tough to wait, but it's fun when you actually get to open them, right? It's exciting. All right. You know, something else that we're going to have to wait for is heaven. It's a long time we have to wait for. But you guys know we're going to go to heaven, right? As we live a good life and be Christians, and we love you guys. All right.
I like your tie.
You like my well, thanks. I'll get you something special later. I appreciate that. All right, guys, y'all can go back to Lighthouse Kids now if you want to, or you can go sit down.
But by the thing, we don't go to Lighthouse Kids.
All right. You never know what you're going to get when the kids come forward. Well, Lundy's going to sing us a few more songs, and then we'll do the second half of the lesson. And if